For the longest time, cybersecurity has pretty much been a defensive game. You build up your walls, you wait for someone to attack, and then you scramble to react. But what if you could just change the game completely? What if instead of just playing defense, you could become the hunter? Well, today, we're diving into exactly how cyber threat intelligence makes that possible. Right, so this is the core idea, the big question we're really digging into here. This isn't about building bigger, better walls. It's about knowing where an attack is coming from and why, long before it even gets close to your front door. It's a total mindset shift, from being reactive to being proactive. Okay, so before we can even think about getting ahead of our adversaries, we've got to speak their language. And it all starts with a really basic question. What exactly is a cyber threat? It's a word we all throw around, but in this world, it means something very, very specific. So get this, a threat isn't the actual attack. Nope, it's the potential for one. I like to think of it like seeing a dark storm cloud on the horizon. It's not the rain that's already soaking you. It's just the possibility that harm is on its way. And honestly, understanding that distinction is the absolute first step to managing it. And what's super cool about this is how you can break a threat down almost like it's a recipe. For a threat to be a real threat, you need all four of these ingredients. You need a threat actor, the who. You need their intent, the why. They have to have the skills and tools, which is their capability. And crucially, they need an opportunity. That's their opening. Take away just one of those, and the whole threat just kind of falls apart. Okay, but here's the kicker. Just because a threat exists somewhere out there in the world, it doesn't automatically mean it's a danger to you. And that brings us to this really crucial concept of risk. This is the million-dollar question for any security team, right? You've got some incredibly sophisticated hacking group out there that's a major threat. But are they a risk to your small business? Well, the answer depends on a couple of other key factors. And the first big piece of that puzzle is vulnerability. This is basically the opportunity part we just talked about, but from your perspective. It could be anything: an unpatched server, an employee who's a little too quick to click on phishing links, a weak password. It's any crack in your armor that a threat actor can squeeze through. And then you've got the second piece, impact. This one's pretty straightforward. If a threat actor does get through one of your vulnerabilities, what's the fallout? Is it a minor headache, or is it something that could shut down your entire operation? That potential for damage, that's your impact. And boom, here's the formula that ties it all together. It's actually pretty simple when you see it laid out like this. Risk isn't just one thing. It's what you get when you multiply these three things together. You could have the biggest, scariest threat in the world, but if you have zero vulnerabilities, guess what? Your risk is zero. You have to manage all three to really lower your risk. So, how in the world are you supposed to keep track of all this stuff? How do you understand the threats, find your vulnerabilities, and figure out the impact? Well, that is exactly where our main topic comes in, the power of threat intelligence. Right, so here's the most important thing to get about cyber threat intelligence, or CTI for short. It is not just a bunch of raw data. It's not some massive list of bad IP addresses. It's that data after it's been transformed into knowledge. It's been analyzed, it's been given context, and it's been turned into something you can actually use to make a smart decision. So what does that actually do for you? Well, think of CTI as giving you a map of the entire battlefield. It helps you see what's coming over the hill so you can build your defenses before the attack. And hey, if something does get through, it helps your incident response team know exactly who they're up against and how to get them out fast. And just like a weather forecast, this intelligence isn't one size fits all. It comes in different flavors for different people. Strategic intelligence is like the big picture, seasonal outlook you'd give to your executives. Tactical intelligence tells your defenders what kind of storms are common right now, the specific techniques and procedures attackers are using. Operational intelligence is that urgent weather alert for a specific hurricane that's heading right for you. And finally, technical intelligence is the raw data, the wind speed, the coordinates that your automated systems can immediately use. All right, this is all great in theory, right? We get what CTI is, we get why it's so important, but how do the analysts on the ground actually use it? How do they take all this messy data and turn it into a clear picture of an attacker? Yeah, it's definitely not magic. It's more like good old-fashioned detective work. Analysts don't just stare at a screen hoping for a breakthrough. They use established frameworks to organize all the clues and piece together the story of an attack. So one of the go-to frameworks here is the Diamond model. It's super useful. For any incident, an analyst is trying to connect these 4 key points. For example, the adversary was a known ransomware group. The victim was a hospital. Their capability was a specific type of phishing email. And the infrastructure was the command and control server they used to launch the attack. When you connect those 4 dots, you start to build this complete profile of your adversary that you can use again and again. And this way of thinking completely flips the script on how we detect threats. The old way, we're talking signature-based stuff, was like having a wanted poster for one specific criminal. Super specific, right? But what if they changed their disguise? You'd miss them. The new way, the behavioral way, is like knowing the general tactics of bank robbers. You can spot one in action even if you've never seen their face before. And that right there, that ability to see the behavior and not just the signature, that's the game changer. It's what lets us move on to the real end goal, using all this knowledge to totally transform your entire security posture from the ground up. And look, it really is a journey. Let's be real. No organization just wakes up one day and is a master threat hunter. It's a process, a journey of maturing your skills and tools over time. And really, it's about moving up a ladder from being the hunted to being the hunter. And this is basically what that journey looks like. You've got to start with the basics, right? Good architecture, your firewalls, all that passive defense stuff. Then you start getting more active, maybe doing some threat hunting. But the real quantum leap, it happens at level 4, intelligence. This is where you use CTI to actually anticipate what your enemy is going to do. This is the pivot point. And what's so powerful about this is that it's not just for those super smart analysts sitting in a dark room somewhere. When you have good intelligence, it becomes this common language that helps everyone. It helps your SOC team prioritize what's important, it tells your vulnerability team which patches are critical right now, and it gives your leadership the clear picture they need to make smart decisions. Okay, so let's bring it all home. What are the big things to remember? First, a threat is not the same as a risk. Risk only happens when a threat meets a vulnerability. Second, cyber threat intelligence is the magic that turns mountains of raw data into actual usable knowledge. It's what lets you shift from just playing defense to actively hunting and anticipating threats before they even strike. The goal is to anticipate, not just react. And that really leaves us with one last question for you to think about. In a world where the threats are always evolving, always looking forward, which direction are you looking? Because with the right intelligence, you can be looking at the road ahead too.